everybody. Welcome back to another episode of the Melanin Money Show. I was about to say the Uncensored Show, because for those of y'all who know me and Jacqueline, before we decided to go all in on this Melanin Money podcast, we had the Uncensored Show. And so today, as you can see, stark contrast from our most recent episode where we have 4 people on the podcast. It is just me and Jacqueline. So it's feeling a little bit nostalgic. Because, if you haven't listened to the Uncensored Show, all those episodes are still live, but this is where we are now. And today, Jacqueline and I decided to take over because we wanted to really give you guys kind of a recap and kind of like a mindset and a game plan on how to move into 2022. So Jacqueline, how you feeling today?
It's just the two of us. Okay. All right.
You
yeah.
can make it.
That's the reason why I stuck to financial planning and not singing. Yeah. No kind of artistry work there. But I'm excited to be here. We are wrapping up 2021, and what a year it was.
What a year. Pandemic year number 2, right? Pandemic year number 2.
Right.
But life still went on, right? We still got outside, still made stuff happen. And in the spirit of just making stuff happen, right? Like we went back and forth for like 5 minutes. Like, should we do this podcast today? Because we only have, let's just say, I think at this point, 24 minutes, right, to get the podcast in. But we say, you know what, like consistency, right? Show up, even when all the stars don't align, even when, the circumstances aren't perfect, we're still going to show up and provide value. And I think that is a cornerstone of life, right? We just finished, again, our second year of the pandemic. Those aren't ideal circumstances, right? But you still have to show up. You can't walk around saying, why aren't you successful? Well, COVID and a Marion variant. Like, the circumstances are always going to be there. So I think this is a great segue into just like, regardless of what those circumstances are, we don't know what 2022 is going to present, but we're making a decision today as you listen to this, that it's going to be a good year.
Oh yeah. 2022 is going to be an amazing year because nothing's going to catch you off guard, right? Like 2020 got a lot of people off guard, me included. And so now we're ready for whatever happens, right? Like, we know that we need to be in front of the trends. Like, we need to be in that first wave of something when it comes popping. All right. So speaking of waves for 2021, George, I'm going to ask you this. Do you know what the top Google searches were for 2021 in the financial realm?
Wow. I'm going to go with not only 1% of the world knows about Bitcoin. So they say. Cryptocurrency? Let me take a wild guess.
Yeah, no, that was a good one. But I'm going to talk about the top 2021 Google searches in the news finance realm for that year. Okay. So the first one, which this one, I was like, really, this is it? The first one, the most Googled thing for news for 2021 was Mega Millions.
The lottery?
The lottery.
Wow.
I was like, that's where we are, America. We still want to hit the lottery. Like, that's the most important thing when it comes to financial news is the Mega Millions lottery. Like, what are the stats there? The stats are, what's your chance? A 1 in a billion chance of winning? I know somebody has to win, but come on, like, that's our most Googled search, Mega Millions. All right, well, let me give you the other 4, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Top five. That's me. I like top 5. I like that number for whatever reason. So number 2, you'll get this one, but you'll still be like, huh? Because you guessed cryptocurrency. It's AMC stock. Right. It's like, it's funny because we know, like, that's a meme stock. So of course, when a meme stock gets popping, what do? Google University. What's up with AMC? Okay. So for those who don't know about the AMC incident, right? AMC is, of course, the stock for the movie theater. And, it went through just a whole roller coaster in 2021. So that was number 2. Number 3 was stimulus check.
That actually makes a little sense. I can see that.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
But I would think in my ratings, let me give you all of them and then I'll tell you what I think should be up higher. Okay. So number 4, which is, it seems a little bit random, but it still falls in the realm of like news and financial news. It was the Georgia Senate race. So, I mean, that was a huge deciding factor in what was going to happen in DC. So I get it. But I'm really surprised. All the things that happened in 2021 financially, and like this made it to top 5. Okay.
Yeah, that's interesting.
So the fifth in your final was GME was GameStop stock. Okay. So this is another meme stock for those of you who aren't familiar. And I find it really interesting because, you know, I pop into CNBC every once in a while, see what's going on, see what's hot, you know? And so they actually have this tracker. You guys know they create all of these illustrations for the news. And so they actually have this meme stock tracker, and AMC and GameStop are both listed on there. So I thought that was really interesting. And it's like, wow, this is where we are in 2021. And why are we talking about 2021 when this is supposed to be financial planning tips to crush 2022? Is because we cannot look forward to 2022 and we cannot create goals for 2022 without knowing where we were and what happened in 2021.
Facts. And what we look at, 3 of the top 5 were basically just like lottery. I mean, one was definitely the lottery, right? But 2 of the other ones are just like, hey, like I'm chasing this thing and hoping that I get to catch this wave. So the trend here is that a lot of people are their financial plan is hope and a prayer, right? That is their financial plan.
Even the stimulus check.
Yeah.
Through stimulus check up there, and it's like, okay, hope and a prayer, waiting for the government to send me a check.
Maybe I can take my stimmy and then flip it in GME or AMC.
Did you see that meme that was like, my business isn't working? What'd y'all say? The baking soda mixed with the what?
Nah, I see that one. That's funny though.
That's
funny. So yeah, to Jacqueline's point, review, right? Like we got to review what happened because that tells the story regardless of what we think, because Jacqueline and I might be in a bubble, right? We have a cash flow plan. We invest on a regular basis. We buy assets. So like we might be in a bubble, right? Like even though we serve and help people who like aren't necessarily in, you know, on our level yet, right? Like they at least desire and have awareness that they need to do these things. But there is a whole subset of people who really just think that the only way to win financially is to get lucky, right? And so what we want you guys to do when we're speaking of reviewing and auditing is I don't want you to get fancy. I want you to log into whoever you bank with. Hopefully you do bank with someone. Log into whoever you bank with. And I want you to just scroll all the way down to the bottom as far as it'll let you go. Some banks are different. You can filter and like put like, you can see like January to December, but just go as far as you can go, right? I want you to look at 2 columns, deposits and withdrawals. Deposits and withdrawals. Look at all the money that came into your account. And one, you're probably gonna be surprised, right? Dang, I saw how much this year, right? But then I want you to go and look at how much money went out of your account. And then think about your year in totality. And do you feel like you can pinpoint an account for where that money went, right? Do you feel like you got 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, whatever, however much it is, $1,000 worth of value from the dollars that flew out of your bank account? And if not, and you can't even account for a fraction of it or most of it, then you got to ask yourself, like, am I using money or is money using me? Right? The average person works, especially if they have a 9-to-5, you know, over 2,000 hours a year. Right? And so it's like, where did that time go? Right? Are you working to buy freedom? Are you working to just pay off the stuff and just keep staying on the hamster wheel? It's a very sober mentality.
So you know what would be fun? So for those of you who are listening to the podcast versus those of you who are on YouTube, if you're on YouTube, comment below. If you are listening to the podcast, leave us a 5-star review and include this in your review, right? We will shout you out, and we do give away things, okay?
Yes, we do.
But I want you to, what George just said, go through your whole money situation, right? And I want you to comment an emoji that that tells us how you felt about your money last year. How do you feel about your money for 2021? Like, comment just one emoji that will explain that, right? So I'm gonna let y'all comment. Let's let them comment, right? I don't want to give y'all my emoji, and George, I want us to keep it quiet. I want y'all to just fully go in on what emoji you feel like you interact most with, okay? And then like just ask yourself, like, you know what you were doing in 2021? Like, what did you want to be doing in 2021?
Right.
That's the next question. What did you want to be doing in 2021 that you weren't doing? You know, ask yourself that question, because that should be something that goes on the goals list for 2022 or in the near future.
Yeah. Yeah. What I do is I have this document called, and it's simply entitled Read Every Day. Like, read the document every day. And on that document, it has a very detailed list of the person that I desire to continue to become, the things that I desire to accomplish, because you can't hit a target that you can't see, right? I don't currently have a vision board in my office anywhere. Maybe that'll change eventually. I don't know. But I do have this document. And this document is a sobering reminder of what I said I want to do versus what's actually happening. Sometimes they're really in alignment. Sometimes they're not all the way in alignment, right? And I'm able to go back and say, well, George, you said you wanted to do this. And I'll be the first one to tell you, right? This is all full transparency. This is not me just because we have a platform, we have a podcast, and people look up to us and all that good stuff. I have moments of reflection where I can be honest with myself and say, I'm not doing it the way I said I wanted to do it. Right. But I also have enough self-awareness to say I have control over changing that, because the reality is I realized for myself, I can't speak for everybody, that most of my stress comes from knowing in my heart that I have the power to change something about my life. And I'm not currently doing all that I can to change it, because I literally feel like it's like you're in conflict, right? It's like your mind is saying, knows that you can do X, Y, and Z. And your heart knows that you can do it, but it's not happening. And so the reaction is like, yo, bro, like, what are you doing? Right? It's creating that stress so that you can feel that pressure that you need to change. You heard people say pressure makes diamonds, right? And so I had that document because I'm aware that life could happen. I could get under the weather. I could have, some errands I got to run. I can have family issues. I can have all these things that start to take precedent over the person that I say I want to become. And then I can look up and I could be out of alignment. Right? Do you know that if a ship is just 1 degree off of its trajectory for too long, it could end up in a completely different outcome, right? So make sure you have a plan. Make sure you have something written down that you can read or look at every single day. And if I were you, I would also do these 2 things. I would then immediately go back and look at my calendar, right? To say, well, how does my calendar align to moving those milestones, right? And then the last thing I would do is I would journal, because when you journal, what it does is it literally creates like a manual, right, for your life. Because when you have a really good day and you say, man, today was a really good day, and I did this, and I talked to this person, and I did this. Then when you have an off day, man, I talked to this person and they got me on my nerves, and they did this, and then I didn't do that. Whatever it is, now what happens is you can recalibrate either way. Right? If your life's not going as well as you want, well, what was I doing when life was going well? If
Praying.
exactly.
Better been praying.
Right. You know what I'm saying? And then when things are going really well, you can also remind yourself, well, how do I stay here? When did I get off track? Because it's almost like a too good to be true feeling, right? Like, man, this is going too well. Right? Go back to your journal. What did you do last time that happened? Because that probably happened before. You probably got comfortable because it was sweet, right? And then you can probably go back and journal and see where the wheels came off, right? So have some type of method where you can reflect and review how things are going.
Yep, absolutely. So you've got to reflect and review on 2021. Let's give you some tangible steps to kick 2022's butt. Yes, exactly. So the first thing that I want to start with is, and just really quickly, I want to touch on this. I want to touch on like kicking out limiting beliefs. All right. Because we limit ourselves by our beliefs. Okay. So we think that, we need this big, complicated, fancy plan, and investing is really difficult, and it's not. Okay. So I want us to all get on the same page and repeat after me. Investing is simple.
Investing is simple.
Investing is simple. Okay.
Investing is simple.
I want you guys to take that into 2022 with you. Okay. So we want to give you some tips for making some more money. All right. So we have had some really great podcast guests so far. If you guys missed last week's episode, we talked with Asia of Get Rich or Drunk Trying about drop. Yeah. You gotta
Oh, you was waiting on the drop.
Bing, yeah.
You know what that? Oh, you saw. Oh, yeah, I told you what that's from. Yeah, I that shit was so funny to me. I don't know why. Like that was so funny to me.
I don't understand. Like I saw the whole thing, but like, what was the? People just thought it was funny.
So like, it's this interview. I'll send you the actual interview. So like,
I saw the interview.
Yeah,
but so like it's like a street interview.
Yeah, so they did chopped it up to where like all that stuff happened back to back, but I think it's like a full show or whatever. And so just those collection of clips, and then you just see, I don't know, like it's
bing funny. Bong. Okay.
Bing bong.
Look, so bing bong, you got to get this bread. All right. That's step number one. That's rule number one. Shout out Young Dolph.
Young Dolph, man. RIP Young Dolph.
Number one, get the money first. Okay. Mm-hmm. So a lot of people are doing it backwards. They're like, hey, I'm going to come talk to you as a financial advisor. I'm like, hey, how much money you have? And they say, yo, I got $200. Oh, you're doing this backwards. Rule number one, get the money first. Okay. So I need you to get that check. And there's so many ways out here to get this money. There's so many opportunities. We're going to make sure that we link some of our old show notes here to some of our past episodes talking about how to get the bread. And I don't know, Asia really took that top spot with that drop shipping episode.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm going to tell y'all to lean into. Lean into the drop shipping. What's your number one?
Yeah, man, so many, man. You got drop. I like arbitrage businesses, which is similar to drop. There you go. Similar to drop shipping, right? So the only difference here would be like, let's say that you said that I can do digital marketing for a small business, right? You figure out, you go find 3 to 4 people. One person can do graphic design, one person that can do social media management, one person that can do email copywriting, right? You find those people, you figure out what their rates are, and then you just charge 30, 40% more than their rates, and you just become the middleman to connect those dots, right? And there's so many businesses you can do like that. You can go to Fiverr.com and get whiteboard videos created. You can get everybody now on Instagram is creating video content. So you can go to Fiverr.com. You can find somebody who's a thought leader and say, hey, I can make your content better. I'll do 12 videos a month for you that look like this. And you go to Fiverr and they do them for $20 a video, and you could sell them a package for $300 or something, right? So like and the reason why I like those businesses, because it stops your excuses in your tracks. I don't know how to do this. You don't have to. You don't have to. That's why I love those as side hustles, and because they don't take a lot of time. You don't got to really build a big brand. Like I think when I was doing that, like I think we didn't even have a website. So
I didn't either. I used to do that back in the day. I didn't have a website either. So rule number one, get the money first. Like you have zero excuses. All right. We've given y'all so much free game during 2021 to get your money up. Like, come on. Mm-hmm. Rule number one, get the money first. All right. Rule number two, don't forget to get the money. And the way that I'm interpreting this is sometimes you get the money and then you lose the money because you forgot that the rule is to get the money, right? So you get the money and then you start spending it on all this random stuff. And you start buying all this Gucci, Louis, Prada, and it's not time for you to buy Gucci, Louis, Prada yet, okay? You buy Gucci, Louis, Prada when your investments pay for Gucci, Louis, Prada, not when your hard-earned money pays for Gucci, Louis, Prada, okay? So rule number two, don't forget to get the money. I want you to manage your money in the most efficient way possible, okay? And so what we recommend you use is an aggregation tool. Let me get a bing bong, okay? Or a cash.
All
the things, because you need an aggregation tool. And an aggregation tool is just a fancy way to say you need an automated budgeting tool, something that tracks your money coming in and going out. So Georgia already said, hey, go to your bank and scroll down. And hey, I'm telling you, go to your bank and look around, because most banks are offering some sort of a budgeting tool within their platform. So you can just log into your bank account online and they'll be keeping track of everything for you. They'll be helping you to categorize your spending there. And that's going to make it that much easier and so much quicker for you to run through rule number 2, which is don't forget to get the money, managing your money. What other tips do you have?
Yeah, I think, we're rolling with the 3. So we're talking about making the money, keeping or managing the money. You got to maximize it, right? So it's like, when we all know the news about inflation, and we understand that if you're not getting at least a 6 to 7%, raise next year, or making 6 to 7% more money next year, you basically made less money, right? You have less purchasing power. And so we understand that, right? So because of that, we need to have our money work for us, right? We have to have our money work for us. And you can do that in so many different ways, right? You can do that by investing in the stock market. You can do that by investing in yourself, right? And then acquiring a skill that's going to take that investment that you made in yourself and triple it up, right? You can do that by investing in real estate, if that's your jam. You can do it by investing in businesses that you own but do not run. There's so many ways. But what we do know is if all your money is just sitting in the bank, that's a recipe for failure. Now, we're not saying don't have any money in the bank. That's not what we're saying, right? But we are saying that you need to prioritize a subset of your excess cash flow that you now have because you kept the money, right? And find a way where it can be more than you started with. It's really that simple. I'm not going to use any fancy term, right? The goal of investing at its core is to beat inflation. But beyond that is I'm going to put it somewhere. And whenever I go reach for it again in the future, the value of it's going to be more than when I originally put it there. That's it. The problem with the bank is you put it there and you go reach for it in the future, and it's 9 times out of 10 going to be worth less than it was when you got it. The tricky part is you're going to see the same amount. So it's going to feel safe to you. Like, oh, well, I had $1,000 a year ago, so it's still $1,000 in savings. There's $1,000 there, but the purchasing power of that 1,000 is different. Now, I'm gonna be honest with you, and again, this might sound a little out of touch, but I hope that we all get there. I haven't looked at gas prices, and I can't remember the last time I looked at gas prices. I know that they went up, but what am I gonna do? Not drive, right? I haven't looked at gas prices. I did kind of notice the milk was a little higher when I went to the store, but the only reason why I noticed is that's the first time I've been to the grocery store in forever because we got our groceries dropped off at our door. So I say that to say, go back to rule number 1, right, of making the money, and then rule number 2 of getting the money, so that when inflation and stuff like this happens, you're not as phased or as moved. However, you're still moving smart by making sure that the money that you do keep, that you're investing, and it's outpacing inflation and it's growing. Because if you're doing that, you're not going to be as worried or concerned as this stuff is happening if you do the right things.
Exactly. The goal here is not to get you in a panic or to, get you worried about the way that the world is working, but it's to make sure that you're cognizant and prepared so that you can crush your goals in 2022. George, I think that this podcast is going to be a helpful piece for people. I think it's going to be motivating. I really want to uplift and encourage you guys to take control of your financial futures in 2022. And that is why we have the Melanin Millionaires Club. That is Absolutely. Our community group. That is where we connect with you guys. We drop so many more gems in there for you. We have live classes, and we can't wait to hear from you in the community group.
Yes, and starting in 2022, we're having Financial Flicks Fridays. So every single Friday, we're going to recommend a video that is inside of our Financial Flicks library that's going to come directly to your inbox if you're a member of the club, Financial Flicks. So literally going into the weekend, you got a video that you can Financial Flicks and chill with, right? You know what we should do? I just got an epiphany. I only got a few minutes to say it. One day in 2022, we should rent out somewhere, probably in Atlanta or somewhere, but like where we could do a drive-in, right? And we can take like our best financial topic class. Like we got to keep track of like the craziest most fire class. And we can run it back on the drive-in style, like Financial Flicks. We got to do that, man. We got to do that.
2022 like goals for July. That would have to be in July.
Have to be in July.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I say we do it. Let's figure that out for real.
Let's do it.
We missed Carter today. Carter, we missed you today. But you are in our thoughts. There's nothing wrong with Carter.
You're the thoughts and prayers.
Just pray for Carter, because just add him to your list of people you pray for. Okay.
Indeed. Well, y'all, I mean, it's been a phenomenal year. The Melanin Money Show got started the first week of August, and we have not missed a Wednesday yet. And so for those of y'all who have tapped in and tuned in, thank you so much. We appreciate the reviews. We appreciate the love. And remember, we create this content for y'all. So when you leave that 5-star review, make a suggestion on also outside of praising us, right? What you want us to share next, because we would love to do just that. And also email your videos, audio messages, and or written messages to podcast@melaninmoney.com, and you'll get free game on the show. So thank you guys so much for tuning in for another episode. And we hope that you have the most spectacular New Year's Eve and 2022 that you could ever imagine.
We're wishing you the best. See you soon. Peace.
Peace.